Volvemos con un tema súper importante.
We're back with a really interesting subject. Remember that our main subject for these 5 years is Internet as a tool for economic recovery post-pandemic. Now we'll have a panel on Internet for entrepreneurship, innovation and economic recovery. What initiatives are underway? Our experts will be telling us what initiatives are underway to strengthen entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs. We know that the crises that have affected our region have created very interesting companies, unicorns that have been born of entrepreneurship. Some very recent examples of companies in Latin America and Argentina, for instance, we were talking to Mercado Libre, which again started from a crisis that we had over 20 years ago. Today, we have 3 friends with us today. I have Miguel Porrua, who is a principal specialist on e-government from the Inter-American Development Bank, Sarah Armstrong, the CEO of the Internet Society Foundation, 2 great friends, and Ramón Heredia, who's the director of the Fintech Innovation Ecosystem. I don't know him, so I'll be meeting him for the first time. And we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, innovation, and economic recovery. Looking at sources of financing, what experience we have in the region. So I will also be asking our experts a few questions, and then we'll see if we have any questions. I can see all 3 of you.
Hello, Olga. It is a real pleasure
Hi.
to be here, and it has been too long. We're going to have to remedy that soon.
We have to meet somewhere in the Americas or somewhere in the world. Who knows?
Yes, somewhere in the world, just in person for a change.
Yes. And y tenemos a Miguel y a Ramón.
We have English, Ramón and Miguel. I'd like to welcome Miguel and Ramón here with us today. I hope you're well. Although this is all online, I do know Miguel and Ramón, and we're meeting for the first time virtually. So to kick off, I'm going to be asking Miguel a question. He works in the IDB. There are a number of different projects which have strengthened governments, digital governments, experiences in the public sector. How do you think that these initiatives to improve the digital structure of governments has helped entrepreneurs and SMEs to find these digital tools that they need? And what can you tell us from the experience of work on different projects in different countries, of projects that you've implemented regarding digital governments? I'd also like to mention to you that we have 500 interns from Latin America and indeed around the world. And we also have simultaneous translation, and we're live on our YouTube channel in both languages. Hi, Miguel. Thank you, Olga. And good day to everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yes, yes, that's terrific. To my Spanish-speaking compatriots, I have been giving speeches, and sometimes people don't hear me. Well, thank you, Olga. I'm very happy to be here. I'm delighted. It's an honor to be a part of the panel, a member of the panel with Miguel and with Sarah and Ramón. And Olga, thank you for inviting us here today to the SSIG. And I want to congratulate you for your energy and drive throughout the region and all the work that you do. So chapeau to you. We're always delighted from the IDB to support this initiative. Well, I think that all of us from this background are very excited about all these things that are bringing us together at the moment. It's so exciting to be part of this initiative, to to hear from other people. And I just wanted to share 3 observations which might be a conversation starter. My 3 messages, which have to do with what you were talking about. First, I want to ask your 500 interns. We have, among whom we have entrepreneurs, policymakers, advanced systems students. Now, what is an entrepreneur? Obviously, entrepreneurs are going to be able to answer this better. Entrepreneurs need open data, they need access to information, they need business opportunities. They don't really want to spend time on procedures. What an entrepreneur usually needs more than anything else is time. Ramón probably has some stats on this, but basically 90% of startups die in the first 2 years, more or less. But because they just don't have the time they need. Now, so what can the digital transformation do? What can digital governments do to make life easier for these people, these entrepreneurs, who are like superheroes, really, because they're superheroes of their economic life and they're very important for us as a region. Well, they can implement open data policies. There are countries that are doing this and doing it pretty well. I'm not going to go into this in detail, but most of them are part of the Open Government Partnership, and this is a good basis. They can put more procedures online. It sounds pretty obvious, but it's not necessarily. We're quite behind, we're lagging when it comes to putting lots of procedures online. 2 specific examples, which we are taking as a reference. One is from the CONAMER. You might have seen the National Catalogue of Regulatory Procedures and Services online in Mexico, and it's quite a major effort for entrepreneurs aimed at making their lives easier, particularly when it comes to complicated procedures for contracting, constituting a company, and so forth. There are 5,200 different procedures which can now be done online, and that's had a major impact. Also, I wanted to mention an example from the Caribbean. The Companies Office of Jamaica. Any entrepreneur who wants to register their company, and until up a short time ago, you had 18 different forms that needed to be filled in to start up their company. Today, there's just one, and it's free. This means that Jamaica is amongst the 7 leading countries in a very important ranking, which I'm not going to mention by name. It's a very well-known ranking in the business world. So those are 2 examples, but also they can generate markets or platforms where entrepreneurs can seek new opportunities. IADB, we have Connect Americas, which many of you know, thousands of business opportunities for small SMEs and entrepreneurs. But they need human resources. Governments have been very proactive in creating spaces where entrepreneurs can find talent which is scarce. For example, we have the Synergy portal in Colombia. This is a portal where people can access human talent. And the governments have been very proactive when it comes to placing these assets at the disposal of entrepreneurs. Now we need to talk about how we're going to locate the entrepreneurs. People need to be proactive. Those cases which have got the most press during COVID, some 10 million loans to SMEs of some $500 trillion during 2020 went where they weren't meant to. They went to companies that didn't need it, or that shouldn't have got it, or had no right to it. $500 trillion. The question that is on the table, which is valid for all of us here, is in current times where Amazon knows exactly how much shampoo I'm going to be buying from here to December, what my kids are buying. In these government times, we ought to know who has the right to what kind of support. And this is up to the entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs need to have their lives made easier, but they don't have time to sort out all these forms. So in terms of digital government, I'm going to leave this question here. Couldn't we do more to be proactive for governments to find entrepreneurs? You need help, here it is. Because the entrepreneurs often spend far too much time wondering what they need to do. And the last point about what can be done from the digital government for entrepreneurs is just to be a driver to catalyze entrepreneurship. Let me give you an example. Uruguay. Thanks to its public policies, efforts, and digital transformation in the public sector, in 2009 was exporting 200 millions worth of software, 9,000 employees. 2020, it's exporting $1.4 million of an ITC with 15,000 employees. Well, a correlation doesn't mean causality, okay? But what I want to show is that the ITC and public policies feed off each other. And I'm sure that there's been traction in terms of creating these positive results. We could analyze something similar in Israel, in the security industry. Now, and my last point before you give me the red flag, from the point of view of the bank, we're working on all of these areas. We are providing loans, we are providing technical support throughout the region, open data, digitalization of procedures, catalogs of procedures. But I also want to talk to you about the big lack, which is for the more active entrepreneurs. It's like an innovation lab at the bank, which has some pretty sophisticated products, not only support for transformation, but capital plans for entrepreneurs. And more importantly, the new administration at the bank has a 2025 vision with 5 different pillars, one of which is a digital economy and the importance of the digital transformation to overcome the crisis. And also, which will be good news for entrepreneurs, the third pillar is support to SMEs as one of the 5 designed to overcome the crisis. All of this within a framework of collaboration and support. So, Olga, this is basically to open the way to Ramón, that all of us who are working in public policy and academia must drive this digital transformation agenda in the public sector because, as I said, just to give you an overview, we need to drive this growth in this sector. So back to you, back to the main studio, as they say in TV, and I'm open to questions. Well, I might have given you a yellow card first, not necessarily going to the red card.
Just for the translators to let them know that I will speak in English for a moment and welcome my dear friend Sarah Armstrong. My dear friend Sarah Armstrong, she's the CEO of the Internet Society Foundation, and we have shared a lot of work with her in my time of member of the Board of Trustees of the Foundation and in ISOC. And Sarah, it's a pleasure for us to have you here. I miss meeting you somewhere in the world, so I hope this time comes again in the near future.
Excuse me, Olga, I'm not able to hear you.
Okay. Dice que no me escucha, Sara. ¿Puede ser? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Ah, yes. Okay. I was saying that I miss you, that I miss our meetings, and I miss meeting with you somewhere in the world and sharing some nice time together. And I hope this time comes in the near future, that we shared a lot of time at my time of member of the Board of Trustees of Internet Society. And I was telling the audience that you are the CEO of the Internet Society Foundation, and you're a great professional, and I admire you a lot, what you do. And considering the issue of our panel and the whole school, which is the recovery of the economy in relation with internet, the use of internet, and especially focus, one second, ¿pueden hablar un poquito más despacio? Adrián, Adri, no, me cuesta concentrarme, perdón. Sorry, it's like a family here. So you have several programs in the Internet Society Foundation, but I'm interested that you tell the audience about one of them that I find very related with the entrepreneurship, which is the, I don't know how to pronounce it, SILS? Is the
Skills.
Strengthening
Yes.
Skills?
SCILLS.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Strengthening Communities, Improving Lives and Livelihoods, and considering that our host this year is the government of Colombia, the Ministry of ICTs of Colombia, I have the feeling that Colombia is the country selected in Latin America for this program. Am I correct?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yes,
So-
and I will go into
Yeah.
the details of the program, but certainly we have some wonderful programs very much focused on
I know.
entrepreneurship
Okay.
in Colombia.
So if you can let us know about this program and other programs that Internet Society Foundation has, that you also have funds for research, for not only for chapters of Internet Society, as we had Andrew Sullivan in the opening session. He promoted the participation in chapters and Internet Society, but you also reach other people that are not members of ISOC. So the floor is yours, and let us know your comments and your fantastic work in the foundation.
So the only question was, I'd sent you a PowerPoint.
Yes, tenemos el PowerPoint de Sara. Ahí está. 1 second, please.
Okay, thank you.
Ahí está. There you are.
I see it.
Yep.
Okay. So thank you all very much for being here, and thank you all for inviting me to be here. I spoke last year, and I just feel very good about this program, and I love the fact that I'm joining again and again to Olga's point, to be working with her, because she was on the Internet Society Foundation Board of Trustees when I started, and so we've had a long relationship, and it's a great relationship. So I just start by saying that, and I will go ahead and go to the next slide. And we'll talk a little bit about the Internet Society Foundation. Or not, maybe. There we go. Okay. So you can see right here on this slide that the Internet Society Foundation's vision is in fact the same as the Internet Society itself. And that is, the Internet is for everyone. That's extremely important to us, because we are not only about getting people connected, but we are also about making sure people are benefiting from being connected, from that access. So we want to make sure that we always reach out to people. And for when it comes to entrepreneurship, now there is nothing more important than being able to be connected and being able to use the internet to your advantage, so that you're able to go ahead and have these special opportunities that the internet provides. So that's our vision. And then you can see on the next slide what our mission is. So next slide, please. So you can see there we're very much, oops, not quite yet. The one right before, yes. You can see there the mission of the Internet Society Foundation. I won't read it, but you can see we're very much about emboldening people, making sure that they're maximizing the use of the internet, and that it's really helping to help them reach their full potential. We are very much about addressing the world's evolving challenges. I don't have to tell anyone in this room or listening to this presentation how much more challenging it's been since 2020. And we are thrilled that we are able to share programs, fund programs that can really make a difference. So I'll go ahead and go to the next slide and explain what the 5 program areas are. So next slide, please. So as you can see, there are 5 different programs. When we first started speaking, we were speaking about skills, and that is in fact strengthening communities, improving lives and livelihoods. I'll go into a little more detail about that because we are very active in Colombia. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of entrepreneurial programs that we're doing in Colombia. I believe you're probably familiar with some of the organizations I'll mention. We also have other programs. Beyond the Net is a program that I actually have a story there too, where we're doing entrepreneurship. In this case, it's in Brazil. So I'll share a quick story about that as well. The Beyond the Net program is open to the Internet Society chapters. So those programs are either small or large grants, and they do a variety of things, all helping their communities in which they work. For those who are not familiar, I mean, perhaps Andrew mentioned this morning, but we are all over the world. There are global chapters in over 100 countries. So it really gives us amazing reach as a foundation. We are a global foundation, and we will continue to stay that way. We also have a program that we call BOLT. BOLT stands for Building Opportunities, Leveraging Technologies. And that one's very much focused on innovation. We just launched that last week, 27 September. And that program is to help identify some of the new out-of-the-box thinking that people may have out there. And of course, that will include helping entrepreneurs. So all of our programs have a bit of that element to it. Research, I believe that Olga mentioned in the front. Yes, that is something else we do. And that one too is very much focused on the future and looking at some of the issues that really will be impacting the internet in the future, greening the internet, looking at climate impact, et cetera. So that program is there. Then we also have a program that we call RARE, and RARE actually has two components. And I'm going to speak a little bit about the one on resiliency, because again, we're working in the Latin American, Caribbean region for that program. So we were very active in this region. And the resiliency and responding to emergencies program is about making sure that communities that are prone to natural disasters are better prepared for not the if, but the when the disaster hits again. And as we know, there are areas of the Caribbean that just seem to get hit over and over again. And we know that there's a lot that we need to do in that area. And then we also have a program that's part of RARE, and that is about emergency response COVID-19. And in that case, again, we have elements in the COVID-19 program that are working on helping people build entrepreneurial skills. So that's an overview of the 5 programs of the Internet Society Foundation. And you can see we also fund IGS, Schools of Internet Governance, and we also fund the IETF LLC. So that's the full portfolio. All of those programs are launched. Most of them have some element of entrepreneurship in them. And I'll go ahead and give you some details. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the skills program. Again, I won't read the slide itself, but you can see the overview here. Strengthening communities, improving lives and livelihoods. We have grants up to $150,000, and we're working, as I mentioned, in 3 different countries. But in this case, in the area of LAC, we have been working in Colombia. We had a cohort, as we call them, a group of grantees that received funding in 2020, and we're now watching those come to a close or come close to a close, and we're able to start to see some of the results of the funding in which we invested in Colombia. But we also have some programs, as I mentioned, in Bangladesh and Senegal. So again, these are very much on building skills, on digital literacy, on helping people become better in the world of entrepreneurship and being able to do microfinance and do things that they would not be able to do were it not for training on the internet. Next slide, please. So as you can see, here's one example that I wanted to share with you. Fundación Capital is one of our grantees, and I think probably they're pretty well known in Colombia. They're using our grant support to promote the resilience of 500 female entrepreneurs. And they are really aiming at building the digital skills there, focusing on digital literacy, financial skills, and other things that will really help to make them competitive in this market and know what it is that they need to do to keep their businesses going or start their businesses even during this difficult time. So Fundación Capital is one of our programs in Colombia. We have another, which I'll go to the next slide to show you. So the next one is HIAS, and this program is also based in Colombia. They work, as you can see in this slide, with refugees, Venezuelan refugees. And what they're doing there, again, is helping a school of entrepreneurship with a gender focus, again, in this case. So we're working a lot with women in Colombia right now. And they're working to help, again, give them some sustainable livelihood techniques and tools through digital literacy in Colombia through HIAS's program. So right there, you've heard two examples of what we're doing as the Internet Society Foundation in Colombia. And I'm just going to say at the next slide, and this is great news and something I'm quite excited about. We are going to continue in Colombia in 2022, but we also intend to expand to at least one more country in LAC. So you will be hearing more about that. We're in the middle right now of doing research to determine what is the best country in which we should be working, internet penetration, certain things that we're looking at to help qualify. So we'll be back in touch with the world sometime in early part of 2022 to let you know which country, in addition to Colombia, we'll be working in the LAC region. Next slide, please. So in addition to all the things we're doing with skills, I mentioned earlier that we have a program called Resiliency. Well, again, as I mentioned, the Latin American, Caribbean area in particular has had some real issues with natural disasters. So we're working with community-based organizations, but also with the Internet Society chapters in that region to help build skills so that they can strengthen their infrastructure, strengthen ways to keep connectivity going, even in the face of a terrible disaster. So that will be another one where we imagine that there will be a lot of entrepreneurial ideas that merge. And this program actually is just launching and will be awarding grantees fairly soon. These are very large grants, and they'll be going, as I mentioned, to organizations who will be working with Internet Society chapters. Next slide, please. Then in addition to what we're doing, again, what we're doing in Caribbean, we also, in the sense, we are working in the Amazon, in the very, very rural areas of the Amazon, where there simply was not connectivity. So we helped fund the building of a community network. And these people are now able to go ahead and keep their business going. They were being displaced. They were unable to continue with the work that they wanted to do and needed to do for their livelihood. And now, because of the community network that has been established as a result of the funding from the Internet Society Foundation, we have this wonderful group of Indigenous people who are now able to keep on working. So I've given you examples of Brazil, of Colombia, of the Caribbean. I've given you an example of entrepreneurship in all of those countries. And we are very, very proud of the work that we're seeing done. We will be providing additional information about the results. But as I said, most of these programs are either brand new and just launched or sort of new still. So I'll just take one more slide, please. So in closing, I just want to remind you all of the mission that we have and our dedication to this type of work. And just to build on what Miguel was saying, the importance of this, the importance of being sure that we continue to emphasize the importance of entrepreneurship as we move forward. And we will continue to fund these types of programs. And we are very, very excited to see where it will go from here. And later on in the panel, if there's time for questions, I'm happy to answer them. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening about the foundation, and I look forward to discussing things further. Olga?
Thanks to you, Sarah. I commend you for your fantastic work. I know how committed you are to the foundation and to the development of a healthy and open internet all over the world, and helping many people in profiting from your work and the work of the foundation. So please, if you're in the audience and you're interested, go to the website. It's in several languages, right? It's in Spanish,
yes,
English, and
Spanish, French, and English.
French and English.
Yes.
So you can, and also let me commend you for your fantastic team. I mean, whatever you consult to them, they will answer immediately in different languages. So audience, if you are interested in what the foundation does, go ahead and ask and get involved. I will switch to Spanish now.
Thank you, Olga. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ramón.
Ramón Heredia, who is a director of Fintech Innovation Ecosystem. I haven't had the joy of meeting you in person, so this is our first virtual encounter. Welcome to the school. You call yourself a serial entrepreneur. So, what would be your comment or advice concerning entrepreneurship in this context of a tough economy? But this context of economic crises are also drivers of opportunities, encouraging people to seek out new opportunities and situations that will allow them to develop new ideas. So, what have you learned over this last year and a half in our region? And welcome to our school. Thank you very much, Olga. It's an honor to be sharing the panel with Miguel and Sarah. What we're doing and these challenges that we're facing are a way of encouraging entrepreneurs in Argentina, which 4 months had 3 unicorns, and I think now we're at 10 or 12. And that shows us the importance of technology. We have over 7 billion inhabitants on the earth today, and Sarah knows the statistics far better than we do, but there are 4 billion people connected to internet. So education, connection, and technology are great opportunities for entrepreneurs. We don't need things to be made easier necessarily, but simply not to be bothered by things, because very often we get more bother than help from the governments. The Mintech in Colombia is doing great things for internet connection. My partner, Henry, has an event tomorrow in Barranquilla, which has been promoted by the Mintech in Colombia. It's called the Digital 4.0. So I think that the connection with the ecosystem, being able to connect with companies and obviously support from the IDB is really important. We work with a lot of financial organizations, with women's foundations, the women's department at the World Bank could do a critically important task with people from Ecuador, the Cooperatives Association, and the support provided by the IDB to all of these programs is tremendous with its observation lab. Everybody's a fintech today, right? The traditional fintech world continues to struggle, the banking sector. I was talking to a colleague from the banking sector a couple of weeks ago. The obligation on the part of the financial industry, which provides support to entrepreneurship. And the idea is you support people who aren't bankerized necessarily. We can work with them thanks to the support provided by entrepreneurs who provide innovation for the social context and help us to design financial policies which better meet their needs. So I think there are lots of opportunities here. Internet, connectivity. We saw this yesterday, didn't we? It wasn't just internet collapsed, but one of the most important platforms collapsed. All their related platforms. It had us on our toes for 5 hours. I'm Chilean. I work in Bogota. I love working with Colombian entrepreneurs, and I work with many of them. We support many Colombian entrepreneurs. There's a great deal of talent, but today talent has no frontiers. That's what internet enables us. It has broken with the knowledge economy that we had before, because we coined the term of the knowledge economy. When I was a kid, I never thought I would be doing what I am doing, but thanks to the fact that I studied programming, it changed my life. Not because I had parents who had commodities. My parents were professors, but I dove into a wonderful world of connection. And that's how relevant this knowledge economy is these days. The importance of internet for everybody. What Sarah is doing with the Internet Foundation and what you are doing with internet governance, what the IDB is doing to drive this space, is it's like making the ground fertile so that entrepreneurs can sow their seeds and these can flourish. What's happening in Latin America is really great. When we created fintechs 8 years ago, our inspiration, I actually lived in Silicon Valley for an innovation project for Global Connection, which was a Chilean government project, and we had to live in an innovation ecosystem. And what impacted me the most was the connection they had with entrepreneurs. A Stanford first year student was already in a plug and play thinking about how to create an enterprise. That kind of magic wouldn't happen if there weren't internet. When I tried to connect those entrepreneurs to bring them to Latin America from the financial world, they said no, because it was too small a market, because Chile only had 10 markets, because there was instability in Colombia. And this pissed me off but this made me understand that we needed to do something. What were we missing? Not talent, because we have great talent, not just celebrities and football players. I think it's really sad to see all these celebrities in the pages of the newspapers. Yeah, Messi's great, obviously. I was in Spain last week, and Miguel and was in Barcelona. Everybody talks about Latin American celebrities, and people seem to only worry about millionaires and these millionaires who are present in football, for instance. My mum, that seems to be the only thing that interests her. Or but we've also got other superheroes of the innovation who founded Rappi, who founded Voila, and they're important. And thanks to internet and thanks to behavioral economy, thanks to the creation of these ecosystems, they can achieve that. So I returned to Latin America and I said, we've got the talent, we've got the technology, we've got amazing talent, but what we don't have are connection spaces. This is why we created the FinTech innovation system. We'll be working in Colombia and Mexico to create these ecosystems. And I think that we need to work together. We're working on a project with the IDB as well to carry out a self-diagnostic of the financial companies in Latin America so that we can understand their transformation possibilities, so that they can use technology. Olga, I think that is our summons. I don't care if you give me a yellow card or a red card, but I have to congratulate you on everything that you are doing. And I want there to be many more of these things. We have to trust talent in Latin America. I wish that this event would be on the front page of the newspaper instead of all the disastrous things happening in Latin America, all the footballers. I love them very much, but quite frankly, here we're talking about wonderful entrepreneurs. They're the Steve Jobs, they're the Mark Zuckerbergs of Latin America. And why Steve and Mark always on the newspapers' front pages? We have companies like Mercado Libre, which is the most important market company on the stock exchange in Latin America. It's a superhero. They should be inspiring our youth, not just footballers. So I congratulate you. When I studied programming and software engineering, it was a 4.5 year long study. But today you can study with Platzi. It's 6 months. Programmers are learning $1,000 or $1,500. People don't want to understand this because they think it's not just a financial thing. But honestly, if you want money, just go and study programming. Programmers have got their jobs guaranteed. But it's not just about the money, because thanks to that, we are obviously making promise for the planet. But from doing this from the right place, we can really make major changes which have to do with entrepreneurship. So long live the superheroes of entrepreneurship. We couldn't do any of this without Sarah and Miguel and what you are doing thanks to this technological base of knowledge. Thank you. That was a great comment, Ramón. This project of the SSIG was born when some 15 years ago, we used to go to these international meetings about internet, and we would see the very poor representation from Latin America, and how little information there was, and there was just a very low participation rate. So we believed that creating a multidisciplinary space for participation was terribly important to train young people, men and women, professionals and students, professionals who are already working in government and in the private sector, to take the message to Latin America. We have a unique series of problems. We're not like other regions, but if we don't contribute our voice, nobody else is going to do that. It's time to take decisions. And those decisions are taken according to who's now sitting at the table. And if we're not there, we won't be taken into account. I have very little time because today is a pretty full day, but I want to give you a minute each with some questions from the interns. How can a small company make the most of these opportunities for financing to eventually grow and have the chance to compete against international powerful companies? I think that what Ramón said, that there are many unicorns in Latin America today, I think that that is possible. And I think that what they said is also valid. We have to leave them be and give them the tools they need. So each one of you gets a minute. Miguel, and then Sarah, I don't know if you got the question. Well, that was really interesting, Olga. Thank you. It's a shame that this is coming to an end. Some 20 years ago, I wrote an article for a Spanish newspaper which was called "Why Entrepreneurs Should Be More Get More Involved." I think that they should need to be more famous, right? What can entrepreneurs do in this region from the bank? We have lots of tools to support them. We have offices in each country in Latin America and the Caribbean. So we just ask you to come to our offices. I've just talked about a few things that we do. The diagnosis tool for SMEs is being handled by another division. There's another one that handles Fintech, which Ramón has probably come across. And then there's another one with, they're working with the regulatory aspects. So just come and talk to the bank. There's so many tools for support to help people with innovation. If you need capital or another kind of financing, because from the bank, we have lots of offers of support from entrepreneurs, and it's part of its vision to tackle the problems facing the SMEs in Latin America and the Caribbean. So entrepreneurs, or superheroes as we're calling them today, will find a friendly ear and support in the bank. Back to you. Okay, I'm here if you have any other questions. Sorry we have to be so brief, but we have running out of time.
We have 1 minute. Unfortunately, we don't have much time today because we have a very packed agenda. Which is your message for those in the region that would like to, they have an idea and would like to move ahead and find some resources, some help in organizations like the Inter-American Development Bank, the Internet Society Foundation? What's your message for them?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Great, okay. So I think everything that Miguel just shared is important. The idea is getting together, coming together, having communities who have these superheroes in them, making sure that those people are working together with the community to identify what issues need to be addressed, and then see, in my case, how it is that access to the internet and how it is that training on the internet can really make a difference. You identify what types of problems perhaps somebody has, like I was talking about in Brazil, and needing to start those businesses up in a brand new way than they did before. Or there are people in agriculture, there are people all over the Latin American, Caribbean area that need access to the internet. So for me, it's identifying what it is that you can do and then finding ways to access it. Now that can be by working with an organization that's funded by the Internet Society Foundation. That could be about getting together to talk about building community networks. There are all kinds of ways that we can do this, but the idea is we need, again, and this is what Miguel said, we need to give them the tools, and we know that they're out there. I love the term superhero, and I think that they can inspire communities and work together with their communities to determine what needs need to be met and how the internet itself can go ahead and help with those solutions. So my job here is to encourage organizations who are doing this type of work, who are in touch with entrepreneurs, to consider looking at the Internet Society Foundation's website and seeing what opportunities there are there for funding. Because as I mentioned, we are committed to this region, and we are committed to seeing people's livelihoods grow, no matter what the challenges are. And our website is isocfoundation.org. So those are my remarks, and thank you for your time.
Thanks to you, Sarah. Visit the Internet Society Foundation website. It's in several languages. Thank you very much, Sarah. I hope to meet you somewhere in the near future. Ramón, tu último minuto. ¿Qué mensaje para todos los 500 becarios que tenemos aquí escuchándonos?
Do you have a message for all our interns today? Well, I only have a minute, and I too like to talk. So, as does Miguel. So, Miguel, next time we get together, we must go out for a drink. So you should sign up to my blog, Heredia with an H.com. We have a mission to deliver 3 books for free. They're 3 really simple books for entrepreneurs. Everybody talks about digital startups, but here we're talking about traditional companies like hairdressers or companies that make craft work or artisan type things. And you can read these books. The second one is about digital ecosystems, and the third one gives you information about methodology and innovation. So I think that you have to look at your assets. Who do I know? That's an asset. Those are your strengths, people that you know. And then something else is methodology, which is 7 ingredients. Look at the problems. The problems are opportunities. If there isn't something that can resolve a problem, it's not real. Don't get stuck on your problems. Just deal with how you're going to solve them. What happened after COVID, you're going to have a lot of problems. And although they hurt, they're opportunities for people to solve their business issues. Read the books. You can see my WhatsApp and my email address on that blog. What the gurus always said, learn to say no. I personally always say yes. So thank you very much. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Ramón. And thank you, Sarah. I think this has been really inspiring. I hope to have the opportunity to meet up in person soon. I look forward to the day where we can meet up together. Thank you very much for being with us today. And my e-partner, Adrián Carvalho, says hi and thank you very much too. We're just one big family here. Big hug and kiss from Buenos Aires, and we'll see you back in 15 minutes. Thank you very much. Bye.